Hello and welcome to Bible Bites Daily. Today we have reached Numbers chapter 2. In this chapter, where the Lord instructs the children of Israel on how to arrange their camp in the wilderness. It might seem like a detailed and ancient organizational plan, but within these verses we find valuable lessons about unity, purpose, and the divine order God desires for His people. As we open our pages to Numbers chapter 2, we step into the vast desert where the children of Israel are encamped. Picture the scene: a multitude of tents, families, and tribes scattered across the wilderness. Now the Lord speaks to Moses and Aaron, giving them specific instructions on how the people are to arrange themselves. In verse 2, the Lord says, "The people of Israel shall camp each by his own standard. With the banners of their fathers' houses, they shall camp facing the tent of meeting on every side." Imagine the visual impact of this arrangement. Tribes grouped together, each with its unique banner, all centered around the tent of meeting where God's presence dwells. This divine order teaches us about the importance of unity and purpose in the community of believers. Each tribe had its own identity, its own strengths and characteristics, but they were part of a larger whole. In the same way, our diversity as a church is a strength. We may have different backgrounds, different talents, and different gifts, but we are united in our common purpose to worship and serve the God. Now, let's delve into the specific arrangement of the tribes. In verses 3 to 9, we see that the tribes are organized around the tabernacle, each with a designated position in relation to the sacred dwelling place of God. This careful planning reflects the divine order God desires for His people. It's a beautiful reminder that our lives find purpose and meaning when centered around God's presence. Consider the symbolism here. The tabernacle at the center represents the focal point of worship, and the tribes arranged around it signify the importance of keeping God at the center of our lives. In our hectic and often chaotic world, the lesson is clear. We find true order and peace when we prioritize God's presence in our individual and collective journeys. What is that we are talking about a journey here? It may be your personal life, it may be your professional life, or it may be your community life. Anything that matters, God has to be there in the center. Now let's talk about the symbolism of the banners. Each tribe had its own unique standard or banner. In verses 10 to 16, we read about the specifics and emblems and colors associated with each tribe. This diversity adds vibrance to the visual imagery of the camp. Each banner represented a story, a heritage, and a sense of belonging. In our own lives, we carry banners too, symbols of our identity. It doesn't mean we physically carry them, but it will be shown in our behavior. Symbols of our identity, our values, and our faith. What banners are we carrying? Is it the one that reflects the love? Is it that one reflects the grace and truth of our God? The diversity in the camp of Israel reminds us that God values our individual stories and backgrounds, and yet He calls us to a common purpose: to follow Him and spread His love to the world. So whatever we are seeing here, it is clear that whatever we do, we should have God at the center of it. Only then we will find a purpose, we will find direction for our life. As we move forward in this chapter, we encounter the specific arrangement of the Levites around the tabernacle. They were positioned to guard and care for the sacred tent. This highlights the importance of designated roles and responsibilities within the community of faith. Each person had a role to play, contributing to the well-being and order of the entire camp. In our church community, we are not just attendees, we are contributors. Whether it's through hospitality, whether it's through service, or using our unique gifts, we all have a part to play in maintaining the spiritual health and vibrance of our church. As Paul reminds us in Corinthians 12, we are one body with many parts, each indispensable to the whole. What does this mean? Is that when you are part of a community, when you are part of a church, you are not just attendees. Okay, you are not going there just to sit and listen to whatever the priest has to say. It is saying that you have to take your own responsibilities. You have to contribute. You have to personally show interest in doing something for the service. Now, let's consider the practical aspects of this divine order. In verses 17 to 34, we find specific instructions about the march and order of the tribes when they were on the move. It wasn't a chaotic departure. Rather, there was a sequence, a methodological way in which they were to journey. This teaches us about the importance of moving forward in an orderly manner, led by God's guidance. In our lives, we may face times of transition, change, or uncertainty. The lesson from Numbers chapter 2 is that even in the travel, God desires order. Wherever you're going, He desires us to be in order. Whatever we are doing, He desires us to be in order. As we step into the unknown, let us seek His guidance, trusting that He is leading us according to His divine plan. That is what we should do in any situation that we are in. It may be meaningless. It may seem meaningless. It may seem that you are not seeing anything that makes sense. But still, if you believe that it is His guidance that will guide you to wherever you want to go, then definitely you will reach your path. To conclude, the lessons from Numbers chapter 2 are clear. Unity, purpose, diversity, and divine order. As we navigate our lives individually and as a church community, let us keep these principles in mind. May our diversity be a source of strength, and our purpose be centered on God's presence, and our journey to be guided by His divine order. So whatever you do, you leave it to the God. You let Him guide you through whatever you are going through. Then definitely it will take you to the right place. Thank you for listening. May God bless you all in abundance.